Most people assume, almost automatically though, that vegetables always grow better planted straight into the ground. More soil, more space, more room for roots to spread, right? Makes sense on paper. But here's what experienced growers already know. Dozens of vegetables, herbs, and even fruits don't just tolerate container growing. They outproduce, outgrow, and outsurvive anything planted directly in garden soil. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which ones and why. Before we dive in, if you're serious about never depending on grocery store prices again, we put everything we know into 2 complete step-by-step guides. Home Gardening for Beginners and the Food Self-Sufficiency Blueprint. Together, they walk you from your very first pot to a full year-round food system that can save your family $600 or more a year. Right now, you can grab both bundled for a limited launch price. The link is in the description and pinned in the comments. growyourground.net, lifey.app. Now let's get into the list. Ground soil hides invisible problems: compaction, rocks, poor drainage, underground pests, and the simple fact that you can't move a plant when the weather turns against it. A pot solves all of that at once. It hands you the single most valuable thing in home food production: total control over the growing environment. This isn't just a workaround. It's a genuinely smarter, higher yield strategy. One that saves your back, saves water, and cuts your maintenance time dramatically. Stick around, because the crop at the very end of this list is so absurdly well suited to containers that most professionals refuse to plant it in open ground at all. If you're new here, this is Grow Your Ground. Hit subscribe now so you don't miss next week's guide, and let's start the countdown. Number 15, carrots. When we picture carrots, we imagine a huge field with deep, uninterrupted roots. The reality of average backyard soil is a lot crueler. Native ground soil is rarely perfect. It's full of rocks, buried roots, heavy clay, and compacted patches. When a delicate carrot root hits any of these obstacles, it forks, twists, or stunts completely. That's why so many ground-grown carrots come out misshapen and hard to peel. Pots eliminate this instantly. Using a container at least 12 inches deep, filled with a light, loose, sandy mix, the carrot root grows perfectly straight and smooth with zero physical resistance. Carrot seeds are also tiny and slow to germinate, which makes them extremely vulnerable to weed competition in open soil, something a container completely controls. Harvest day becomes a pleasure too. Instead of digging with a spade that can slice through roots, you simply loosen the potting mix and pull out perfectly clean carrots. Number 14, garlic. Garlic is a patience crop. It needs months in the ground before it forms a solid bulb, and its biggest enemy during that time is excess soil moisture. In traditional beds, especially through rainy, cold months, water pools around the roots and creates the perfect setup for fungus and early bulb rot. In containers, you control drainage completely. With drainage holes and a layer of gravel at the bottom, water flows through fast, keeping the soil moist but never soggy. Garlic also demands rich, loose, fertile soil so the cloves can expand freely. And mixing that perfect blend in a pot is far cheaper and easier than reworking an entire garden bed. As a bonus, potted garlic is also protected from soil-dwelling pests, and if you're in an unstable climate, you can simply move the pot to shelter. Number 13, lettuce. Lettuce is one of the most beloved greens, but it has one major weakness: extreme sensitivity to heat. Once soil temperature climbs in summer, ground-grown lettuce gets a stress signal that makes it bolt, growing tall, flowering, and turning bitter overnight. Containers solve this through mobility. As the afternoon sun gets intense, you simply move your lettuce pot into partial shade, keeping the soil cool. Containers also raise your lettuce out of easy reach of slugs, snails, and caterpillars, pests that have a field day on ground-level leaves. Keep a pot right by your door, and you can harvest just the outer leaves for tonight's salad while the center keeps producing. A continuous, low-effort system. Number 12, radishes. Few vegetables reward you as fast as radishes grown in containers. If you want that quick motivational win of results, this is your crop. Radishes hate compacted soil. Hard ground stops the round root from expanding, leaving you with small, deformed, overly spicy radishes. In a pot with a light, fluffy substrate enriched with worm castings, radishes grow with zero resistance and develop crisp, sweet, perfectly round roots in as little as 3 to 4 weeks. Container soil also warms faster in the sun, which speeds up growth. Because they have a shallow root system, even a window box can produce an abundant crop. Harvest is as simple as a gentle tug on the greens. This is the ultimate beginner's victory. Now let's turn up the heat. Number 11, peppers and chili peppers. Many people are surprised to learn that pepper plants often produce far more fruit in containers than in the ground. The reason? Peppers respond to root restriction. In open beds, they pour energy into roots and foliage, delaying flowering and fruiting. In a pot, the plant redirects energy toward reproduction. Dark pots absorb sunlight and keep soil warm, speeding up ripening. Superior drainage also prevents the waterlogging that commonly causes yellowing leaves and flower drop in ground-planted peppers. Higher duty fruit factory. Number 10, mint. Mint is one of the easiest herbs to grow and one of the most dangerously aggressive. Plant it directly and it will take over your garden. Its underground runners spread like a network, choking out neighboring plants. A container acts like the perfect, necessary prison for this plant. Confined, mint grows lush and full, producing huge amounts of aromatic leaves without wreaking havoc. It loves constant moisture but hates soggy soil. A well-drained pot keeps it healthy. Position it near your patio for fresh leaves for tea and drinks. Control is the key. Quick pause. If this list is already changing how you think about your garden, imagine having the entire system laid out for you. That's inside our guides. Exactly when to plant for your zone, how to keep them alive, and how to turn one harvest into a stocked pantry. GrowYourGround.net, Lifey.app, link pinned. Number 9, green onions/scallions. Essential in any home kitchen, they're the ideal container candidate. Their root system is extremely compact and shallow. You can grow dozens in a single narrow window box. In pots, the leaves grow clean and protected from muddy splashes and aggressive weeds. Feeding is easier. It's simpler and cheaper to apply a monthly dose of liquid fertilizer directly to a pot than to a garden bed where nutrients wash away. You get thick, juicy leaves ready for your next meal. Now let's talk about the buried gold. Number 8, potatoes. Harvesting potatoes in pots or bags is surprising and fun. Traditional ground harvesting takes real effort with a spade or fork. It's common to slice into hidden tubers with tools. Ground-grown potatoes are also exposed to pests. Growing in fabric bags flips the whole process. You start at the bottom and add more substrate as foliage grows. Hilling triggers new potatoes along the buried stem. At harvest, simply tip the bag over and collect dozens of clean, scratch-free potatoes. It's satisfying work for any age. Now, watch out for the damp. Number 7, cucumbers. Ground-grown cucumbers face poor air circulation. As vines sprawl on damp soil, leaves stay in contact with moisture, a trap for diseases. Growing in large pots with a trellis changes everything. Training growth upward keeps foliage dry and fungus-free with even sun and airflow. Fruit hangs vertically, avoiding damp soil and yellow spots. Harvesting at eye level is far more practical. No more fruit hiding under leaves. Number 6, eggplant. Eggplant needs specific heat. Ground soil warms slowly, delaying development and fruiting. Large black containers are heat accumulators. Soil in a container reaches ideal temps much earlier, stimulating root growth and earlier flowering. Concentrated feeding means zero waste. Eggplant is genuinely ornamental, with broad leaves and purple flowers that make it as beautiful as it is productive. Next, the sweet factory. Number 5, cherry tomatoes. If you've tried growing large tomatoes and ended up with pests or cracked fruit, cherry tomatoes in a pot will change your experience. Unlike giant varieties, cherry tomatoes are resilient. Superior drainage prevents splitting common in the ground. Consistent moisture prevents blossom end rot. A single stake keeps it upright. One plant produces hundreds of fruits, a true sugar factory right on your patio. Fast, sweet, and survival ready. Number 4, bush beans. Compact plants perfect for medium pots. The biggest advantage, germination speed. Bean seeds are sensitive to cold, wet ground soil. They frequently rot before they sprout in the ground. In pots with warmer, well-drained substrate, seeds germinate within days at a 100% success rate. Pods hang along the sides, staying clean and free of ground insects. A single pot produces multiple harvests. Excellent food return for the space. Number 3, spinach. Packed with iron, but hates heat. In ground soil, as summer approaches, spinach quickly bolts, turning leaves tough and bitter almost overnight. Container growing gives flexibility. Move the pot to morning sun or shade, extending production of tender leaves. Short roots thrive in shallow containers. Number 2, strawberries. If you're growing in the ground, you're competing with slugs, snails, and birds. The moment a fruit touches damp ground, it rots. Growing in hanging baskets is the smartest decision. Elevating lets fruit dangle freely in the air, dry, clean, rot-free, and out of reach of most pests. Harvesting is more comfortable. No more bending. Strawberries love the rich soil, easy to maintain in a pot, resulting in sweeter, more fragrant fruit. Number 1, basil, the undisputed king of container growing. Basil has an absolute intolerance to excess root moisture and cold soil common in ground. In heavy clay ground that holds water, basil develops root rot and dies within days. It needs constant warmth at the roots to produce essential oils. Pots offer the dream environment. Drainage prevents waterlogging, soil warms quickly. Basil thrives on pinching. Keep a pot by your kitchen and always be ready. Gardening success doesn't depend on how much land you have. It depends on how smartly you use the space available to you. Pots are a precision tool. Container gardening saves your body from strain and protects crops from pests. Feel the joy of harvesting your own fresh, chemical-free food right at your door. If you want the step-by-step system, grab our bundle at growyourground.netlifey.app. Save your family hundreds this year. Link in description and pinned. Drop a comment and tell us which plant you're growing first. Subscribe for a new guide every week. Thanks for watching and happy growing.